Hi, my name is Fred Arellano, and I was a longtime resident of Monterey. And in 1967 was a watershed year for me. In many ways, I graduated from high school, and I also attended a very special event that completely changed my life. And from time to time, everybody has a moment of clarity and purpose that comes along, and it's a key to a whole different world. For me, that was the Monterey Pop Festival. We all knew that we were going to be part of something special that would never be repeated again. And the second week of June in '67, the trucks started rolling into town, and none of us had any clue what we were about to receive, but that soon became pretty self-evident. It turned out to be Mardi Gras, a traveling circus, and a snake oil show all rolled into one. And I can remember the city council meetings, the newspapers, all the police and everybody were worried about them damn hippies are going to come in and they're going to be rioting in the streets. And they put on all these extra cops. And by Saturday afternoon, Frank Marinello, the chief of police at that time, sent over half of them home because they were basically standing around. I believe the whole weekend there were maybe 3 or 4 arrests for like drunken disorderly and a few other things. But nothing serious, because people were there not for any political reason or any agendas. They were there for one thing, which was the music. And oh, the music. You have to remember, Vietnam was raging at this time. There were a lot of kids that were going off to war not knowing if they were ever going to come back. And the Monterey Pop Festival was this cathartic kind of event that brought everybody together. And I remember walking in to the arena fresh out of high school, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday the 16th, and I was looking around. I just couldn't believe. I'd never heard loud rock and roll before or seen a light show, and I remember the association doing their sound check and seeing Steve Miller standing there, and a young guitar player from Seattle, Washington. They said, "Okay, buddy, you're up next." Hendrix, who they didn't know who he was, he came in, plugged his guitar in, and started playing. And I'll never forget Steve Miller standing there like, people aren't supposed to play guitar like that. And one of the most famous photographers of our time, Jim Marshall, who recently passed away, got that iconic shot of Jimi Hendrix with his guitar up like that, and I was right there when he took the picture. One of the most amazing things I've ever seen, and the night that Hendrix burned his guitar up, it was like 10 feet away, and I said to myself, "Self, this is what I want to do." And it was almost like a sensory overload. I mean, Janis Joplin, Otis Redding, The Who, Simon and Garfunkel, the Mamas and the Papas. I remember Friday night when Otis Redding had the Barkays with him on stage, and they put on a show. There was not one person in that arena sitting down, and I'll never forget, when he came off the stage, he was walking towards me, and he had the spotlights behind him, and he had steam coming off of his head. And as he's walking toward me, the steam coming off of his head was this dark blue. And I'm watching him as like this apparition, It was, it was pretty amazing. And a lot of people, a lot of friends of mine that were there also, we're all in agreement on one thing. Woodstock was great, but it was pretty much a mess. Monterey was a very intimate party. That arena out there holds 7,500 people. And none of the artists that played at Monterey got paid, not one except Ravi Shankar. He's the only one that got paid. And Hendrix almost didn't play at the Monterey Pop Festival. John Phillips and Lou Adler were told there's this young guitar player in England, and we want him on the show, and they said, he doesn't have a record out, we're not going to book him. So John Phillips gets this call from Paul McCartney. Paul says, listen, I'm on the board of directors for the Monterey Pop Festival, and I'm telling you people that you will book Hendrix, and he will blow your mind. And otherwise, I'm going to pull out of the festival. And so Phillips and Adler went, okay, Paul, you feel that strongly about it? We'll book him in. And at that time, Chas Chandler, who was the original bass player for the Animals, happened to see Jimmy play in New York with Joey D and the Starlighters. He took him back to England and he said, listen, I want to introduce you to a few of my pals. His pals, Jimmy Page, Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, they came in to hear this young guitar player play, and he said, Eric Clapton just sat down and went, we're in trouble. And then and McCartney showed up at this club and saw Hendrix, and that's how this whole thing came to be. But, you know, it's been over, what, 40 some years, but I still remember it very vividly because it was a very instrumental point of my life, you know, and it affected a lot of people's lives. Sunday afternoon, when the Ravi Shankar played, I even persuaded my mom to come down there, and she puts on this flowered dress, and by Sunday, all the Monterey cops were kicked back. They had flowers in their helmets, and, you know, they were just kind of, and Shankar came on and literally mesmerized the crowd. He played for 3.5 hours. And the funny part was that the first 10 minutes he's up there playing and he gets a standing ovation and he starts laughing and he goes, man, if you people like my tuning up that much, wait till I start playing. The audience just lost it at that point. And Ravi had that audience in the palm of his hand. And the Pop Festival launched the careers of Otis Redding, Jimi Hendrix, and Janis Joplin. And tragically, 3 years later, all of them were gone. We lost some major icons of our generation. But to walk around at Monterey Pop and to feel the music, to smell the smells, to see the sights. D.A. Pennebaker made a film called Monterey Pop. I was very shocked to see myself in the film, but if you have an opportunity, please go rent it. You will be able to capture some of the magic that we all felt on that weekend in June in 1967. This area has a certain type of energy. I don't know what you could call it, but it's a certain type of energy that draws so many creative people. I mean, look at the people that have come from this area. Robinson Jeffers, okay? Ansel Adams, Steve Crouch, one of the greatest photographers. Robert Louis Stevenson wrote Treasure Island here. If you go out to Point Lobos and you take the book Treasure Island and you open the flyleaf, it's Point Lobos. He said it's the greatest meeting of land and sea on planet Earth. And John Steinbeck, you know, so we live in one of the most wonderful places on this planet. And anybody that lives here after they've been here for a while sometimes we get a little blinded to all the beauty that's around it and we take it for granted, but I'll tell you, it's really nice to take a refresher course and go take a walk on the beach or through the woods sometimes, and you'll understand why people come to Monterey. It's a small, insignificant little town, but energy-wise, it speaks volumes. In downtown Carmel, there is a little park called Devendorf Plaza, a little grassy park, and Joan Baez used to come down sometimes on Saturday afternoon, and she'd sit in the grass and just play, her and her Martin guitar. There'd be 15, 20 people there, and we would sing protest songs and folk songs, and she had her Institute for Nonviolence out in Carmel Valley. I believe it was located near the Los Laureles grade. And Joan had her sisters, Mimi, Pauline, and Mimi was married to Richard Farina, who was a very well-known artist. One of his most famous books was Been Down So Long It Looks Like Up to Me. And Richard Farina was going to have a book signing out in Carmel Valley. I believe it was going to be at the Thunderbird bookstore. And on the way out there, he was traveling along Carmel Valley Road and came around a corner on his motorcycle, and there was a deer right in the middle of the road, and he hit it, and he was ejected from the motorcycle, and he passed away, which was really a blow to the entire family and to his fans. It was a very sad day, and you know, people were waiting at the book signing, and he never showed. Finally, they hear an ambulance out on Carmel Valley Road, and I remember everybody had that kind of a sinking feeling in their stomach, you know. And Richard Farina was definitely an icon, and his wife Mimi later organized the Bread and Roses concert series, which were held mainly in Berkeley at the Greek Theater up there, and I attended a few of those as well.